I've worked a few more rounds now on my W on the front and E on the back, and I just have that one remaining tail left to deal with from the fix, and I'm going to take it up diagonally between the layers, and I don't have much orange on the back, so I'm just going to sneak up between the layers and aim to duplicate that stitch just there. So up between the layers, copy this stitch, and you can see why longer tails are better. And then I'm just going to put my needle in between the layers again and rethread. And just check that, you see I'm skipping out on the front of the fabric there. So I'm just going to realign that needle. Check again. And make sure I don't over tighten that stitch by pinching it as I get the needle unthreaded. So that tail has gone up here now and is secure. The only other thing that's bothering me here is this little bit just here. Murphy's Law was in action, and my dark yarn actually became light at that point, and it makes the letter look slightly less well defined, even though the colours were technically correct. So I'm going to do another little cheat here, and I'm going to duplicate and cover up that light stitch. So I'm going to sneak in. I'll leave the tail visible, duplicate that stitch, and back inside. I think I'm not quite happy with that. So I'm going to just pull this out and move this one slightly. I see I actually split that orange ply. So it's not really covering it properly. That side looks okay. And that's why I didn't fasten the tail down to begin with. And I often do that when I'm sewing things up. I leave the initial tail loose until I'm happy with the finished result. So again, I'm going to take it off between the layers. Pinch that stitch into place. Just tension that a little more. And that definitely perks up the edge of that piece. Now, whether I duplicate that one, I think I will, because in fact this W comes up here and then dodges out. So I think I'll also do that one, but with a separate piece of yarn. So coming from a slightly different location, in between the layers. And I'm going to duplicate just that replacement stitch. There's 2 layers of stitch there, but if I just duplicate the duplicate stitch and don't actually catch it round the one underneath. So there are the 2 layers of the underneath stitch. So I'm just taking it around that top layer, and now I can take that tail off between the layers. And I'm going to leave those tails sticking out for the time being, because if when I'm finished I'm not fully happy with that, I can change it again if I need to. So I've got those two tails and these two tails, and I think that smartens up the overall look of the W. And I've got one slight hitch on the other side. I've got a little blip of pink yarn sneaking out from the repair, and I'm just going to tweak it inside and move it along. So it just requires a little bit of fiddling. Inside the knitting. And yes, that is a total cheat. Get on you. But it will settle down inside. And once this is washed and blocked, that'll be fine. This is probably more cheating than I normally do in a single area of knitting, but I think it would certainly beat going back about 4 rounds in this instance. And once it's blocked, no one's ever going to know the difference.